The Chicago Sky teammates of Angel Reese, Ariel Atkins, Rachel Banham, Courtney Vandersloot, three ladies which were targeted in that hit piece that Angel Reese slid underneath the table. Yeah, they responded. Not only did they respond, but the Chicago Sky responded as well.
Did Angel Reese just turn into the Chicago Sky's biggest liability instead of the star they thought she'd be? Let's break this down. She's racking up technical fouls that got her suspended, sitting out games with a questionable back injury, and even calling out teammates like Courtney Vandersloot, Haley Van Lith, and Rachel Banham in public. But here's the kicker. The Sky have actually looked sharper without her on the floor. So why is Reese demanding trades and massive roster shakeups when she's leading the league in turnovers despite missing multiple games? It all came to a head when her teammates clapped back. The front office hit her with discipline, and the team started thriving in her absence. Could this be the downfall of Angel Reese in Chicago? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the Sky move on from Reese for good? Let's get into it.
At this point, it's over. That whole Sky Barbie thing, that thing is over. Angel Reese is done in Chicago. They're gonna move on. They have to.
What do you do when the player meant to be your franchise leader turns on her own teammates mid-season? That's exactly what Angel Reese just pulled off. And this wasn't some light critique about effort or improvement. She went for the throat. In an interview with the Chicago Tribune, Reese didn't hold back, firing off, "I'm not settling for the same results we had this year."
See what Angel Reese had to say. "I'm not settling for the same shit we did this year." Oh boy. Reese told the Tribune, "We have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me. I'm willing and wanting to play with the best. And however I can help to get the best here, that's what I'm going to do this offseason. So it's going to be very, very important this offseason to make sure we attract the best of the best because we can't settle for what we have this year. Overhaul this roster."
She didn't stop there. Reese went even further, calling out her own teammates directly. She openly questioned whether Rachel Banham or Haley Van Lith were even worthy of being on a playoff roster. Comments like that don't just stir up fans. They shatter the unspoken code of the locker room. Rule number 1, you don't throw your teammates under the bus in front of the media.
"We can't rely on Courtney to come back at that age that she's at," Reese said. "I know she'll be a great asset for us, but we can't rely on that. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and is willing to compete for a championship and has done it before." Courtney Vandersloot, by the way, 2-time WNBA champion, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-WNBA first team, left the New York Liberty, a championship caliber team, to come help out the Chicago. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, dang. Oh, damn. It's all right, Courtney. It's all right.
The fallout came fast. Courtney Vandersloot, the veteran who's been the heartbeat of Chicago basketball for years, suddenly got painted as being too old to matter. Never mind that she's still producing, still orchestrating the offense, still one of the sharpest point guards the league has ever had. Yet her own teammate brushed her off like a worn-out trading card tossed aside. And here's the kicker. The Sky front office had already gone all in on Angel Reese just last offseason. They reshaped the roster around her, even dealing away the number 3 overall pick, Sonia Citron, to bring in Ariel Atkins. That wasn't some minor tweak. That was the franchise saying loud and clear, "We're building around Reese." But instead of pulling everyone together, the move only drove the locker room further apart.
Just some turmoil going on in Chicago right now, and it kind of brings up the question, like, what is going to happen with Angel Reese at this point? I think she's done playing.
Now flip the script and see this through Ariel Atkins' eyes. She's new to Chicago, a proven talent brought in to elevate the Sky. And what does she step into? A locker room where the so-called franchise star is treating her teammates like trade chips, basically saying they're not good enough. Atkins responded with poise, standing up for her teammates and emphasizing growth as a group. Reese, on the other hand, struck a completely different chord, pushing the narrative that the team needed: better players. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One leader preaching unity, the other pointing fingers at everyone but herself.
In the beginning of the season, you was missing mad layups. You was shooting like 27% on layups. I saw Ariel Atkins at the podium holding you down. I didn't see none of your teammates going in the media blasting your ass for not being able to make a damn layup. We haven't seen none of your teammates come out and flame you for how you was missing layups back to back to back to back to back. You had like 8 straight games where these dudes won hundreds of thousands of dollars betting that you would miss your first shot. None of your teammates came out and embarrassed you publicly. They held you down and supported you.
And here's the craziest part. Reese wasn't speaking from a position of strength. She was turning the ball over non-stop, racking up technicals that led to suspensions, and spending weeks sidelined with a back injury. Everyone in the building could see her shortcomings, except her. To her teammates, it felt like watching someone complain about a car's paint job while ignoring the fact that she's the one steering it straight into a ditch.
To be highly surprised if Angel Reese is on the Chicago Sky's roster come the start of the 2026 or the 2027 season. The Chicago Sky, they might be saying to themselves, Angel Reese just isn't worth the headache that she is causing. Great rebounder. As for everything else, she's not worth the headache that she's causing.
Instead of pulling the locker room together, Reese ended up pushing herself further away. The more she voiced her frustration, the clearer it became to her teammates that she wasn't standing with them. She was standing against them, pointing fingers instead of offering support. And once that trust was broken, there was no way to patch it back up. The Sky didn't see a leader in Angel Reese. They saw someone chipping away at the team from within. The cracks were obvious in her words, but once her on-court performance got factored in, things unraveled even faster. Because here's the truth. When teammates stop covering for you and start speaking out, that's the ultimate sign the locker room has hit its breaking point. Reese's comments to the media weren't just throwaway quotes in an article. They set off a firestorm inside Chicago's locker room, and suddenly players who once had her back didn't feel the need to keep silent anymore.
The show, if you're gonna go at a legend, you better not miss. As we know, Angel Reese come out this week. She absolutely crushed her own teammates into the dust, and she even decided to go after a legend, the legendary Courtney Vandersloot, who of course blew out her ACL at the beginning of the season, and she is in the midst of making a comeback. And of course, Angel Reese made some comments that were none too kind to a legend.
The chaos began when Angel Reese went public with shots at her own teammates. Instead of addressing her turnovers or the pile of technical fouls keeping her off the floor, she turned the spotlight on veterans and role players, taking aim at Courtney Vandersloot, questioning Haley Van Leith, and even pointing at Rachel Bannum's production. To fans, the remarks came off as cocky. Inside the locker room, they came off as toxic. Every player knew those words would eventually land on them, whether they wanted that attention or not. Caught in the middle was Ariel Atkins. She had just been traded to Chicago in a move meant to help build around Reese, not spark conflict. Yet here she was, stepping into a storm. Atkins did her best to steady things, defending her teammates and focusing on collective growth instead of firing back. But it was clear the burden weighed on her. No player wants to join a new team only to find the season overshadowed by drama fueled by someone else's ego. Atkins should have been locked in on basketball. Instead, she was left cleaning up the wreckage.
An organizational decision declined to share which comments were viewed as detrimental. Atkins implied the team supported the decision. Ownership handled it how they see fit. She told the Sun-Times, a shooter on Friday, they have full support from our team.
Not everyone was willing to bite their tongue. Rachel Bannum, a seasoned vet who's already endured more than her share of locker room chaos, made her stance crystal clear. Her response cut through all the drama. I think I just don't really care. I'm so over all this that wasn't indifference. It was fatigue. Bannum doesn't have the energy to deal with a teammate tearing her down publicly while she's fighting to extend her career in the league. Then came Courtney Vandersloot. The narrative that she was too old to matter didn't sit right with a player who built her name on grit and consistency. She clapped back with conviction. My age is absolutely not a factor. I'm coming back better than ever. Vandersloot has earned respect across the league for years, and she wasn't about to let her legacy be reduced to a cheap punchline in one of Angel Reese's interviews.
Can Sky Nation expect to see you back here next year?
Oh, absolutely. You know, contrary to what people say or think, my age is absolutely not a factor. I am coming back. I'm going to come back better than ever because that's what I've done. I put myself in a position to come back and compete even at this age.
Better than ever. Thank you so much.
What followed was a rare turning point, the moment when teammates stopped shielding each other in public and started looking out for themselves. Reports surfaced that players were fed up with being singled out by name in Reese's remarks. The frustration finally reached a breaking point, leading to a players-only meeting to confront the issue head-on. Angel Reese. That conversation made one thing clear. Nobody else had to carry the weight of the target Reese had painted on their backs.
Angel Reese will be lucky if she has a third of the career that Courtney Vandersloot has had. I don't think it was Kennedy Carter that blew that locker room up. I think it was Angel Reese. There, I said it out loud. I think it was continuous drama.
That's when the breaking point finally came. Protecting Reese no longer meant protecting the team. Her teammates realized that if her words kept defining their season, they'd all sink with her. So instead of covering for her, they drew the line. It was over. What began as a war of words soon spilled onto the court, and the difference was obvious whenever Reese wasn't playing. Sometimes the strongest statement isn't spoken. It's seen in the way a team performs without you. And for Angel Reese, that statement hit hard in a season where she spent more time sidelined than suited up. It wasn't just injuries, though she insisted a back problem kept her out for weeks. Suspensions added to the chaos. After racking up her 8th technical foul, the league automatically handed her a 1-game ban. That whistle came during a battle on the glass against the Connecticut Sun when she made contact with Aaliyah Edwards' head while fighting for a rebound.
And watching the bottom of your screen, the contact by Reese.
You can see Angel's right hand got Aaliyah Edwards on the head. And if they do, Lisa, I'm okay with that too, because I think you have to officiate these teams very tightly.
So it'll be a technical foul on Angel.
It wasn't just another entry on her growing list of disciplinary issues. It also kept her out of a marquee showdown with the Indiana Fever, a game hyped up because of her rivalry with Caitlin Clark. And if that wasn't enough, the Sky themselves later handed Reese a suspension for conduct detrimental, a label that made it clear her problems went far beyond what was happening on the court.
Sky values the safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of statements detrimental to the team made by Angel Reese during league-mandated media, she will not play in the first half of the game on September 7th against the Las Vegas Aces. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we are moving forward as a team.
And here's the part that cuts the deepest. Instead of falling apart without Reese, reports began to surface that the Sky actually looked better when she wasn't on the floor. The ball zipped around quicker, the offense flowed smoother, and the team didn't feel weighed down by someone demanding touches only to immediately turn the ball over. And let's not overlook this. Reese somehow managed to lead the entire league in turnovers while missing nearly a month of action. Think about that. Most players need big minutes across a full season to rack up those kinds of mistakes. Reese did it despite not even being available for long stretches.
Angel Reese facing her first bit of accountability here in the WNBA. Unapologetically, Angel, the Chicago Sky don't care about any of that right now. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about go out and say what you want. Be unapologetic. They have no time for that. They have a business to run. They have teammates that they care about, players on the roster that they're looking for. You know what? We got to send a message. This isn't cool to Vandersloot. This isn't cool to Banham. This isn't cool to Haley Van Lith. We got to show the other players on the roster we have your back as well.
Her absences went beyond just missing games. While sidelined with injury, Reese didn't even bother traveling with the team, which raised real questions about how invested she actually was. Contrast that with Caitlin Clark, who stayed locked in on the sidelines earlier this year even when her own body limited her. Clark huddled with teammates during timeouts, cheered every run, and showed leadership without ever touching the floor. Reese? Most nights she wasn't even in the building to pretend. And then came the constant battles with referees. It got so bad that one of her technicals ended up in an official appeal, with the Sky actually challenging the call in hopes of getting it overturned. Just think about that. Your own team has to lawyer up just to keep your foul count under control, because you can't stop arguing with officials. And here's the kicker. When those suspensions or ejections pulled her out of the rotation, the locker room didn't sulk. By all accounts, the energy actually lifted. Rachel Bannum even admitted she just didn't care anymore. That's the sound of teammates finally finding relief in someone's absence.
It is looking spooky in Chicago. Instead of Reese said she doesn't believe her teammates Rachel Berman or Haley Van Lith are capable of leading them to the leading the playoff team. Guard Ariel Atkins is another player on the Sky roster with WNBA championship experience. We are aware of it, Marsh stated. We are addressing it.
So what did all of this really show? The uncomfortable truth nobody in Chicago wanted to admit. Angel Reese wasn't being dragged down by the Sky. She was the one weighing them down. And once fans started connecting those dots, the contrast between her and Caitlin Clark became impossible to ignore. One player whined her way out of team chemistry. The other carried a struggling franchise straight into the playoff hunt. Now, ask yourself, which one do fans rally behind? The league keeps trying to push this rivalry between Reese and Clark, but let's be honest, the comparison gets weaker by the day. On one side, there's suspensions, trade drama, and endless locker room headaches. On the other, there's a rookie superstar who walked into one of the WNBA's worst teams and instantly gave everyone belief again. It's really no surprise where the fans' loyalty lies.
Destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day-to-day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
Caitlin Clark became the natural counter to Reese because her actions actually backed up her leadership. While Reese was busy criticizing teammates and hinting she needed better talent around her, Clark was the one pulling up a chair on the sideline even when she couldn't play. That makes a difference. Teammates don't just remember the highlights or the box score. They notice who's locked in when no one's watching. Clark kept pointing out sets, cheering Kelsey Mitchell when she caught fire, and guiding Lexi Hull into spots where she could knock down open looks. For the Fever, her absence wasn't really an absence at all. It felt like she was still there, leading in street clothes. That's the split. Clark embraced the roster she had, while Reese acted like she was waiting for the trade machine to deliver better pieces. Instead of begging for upgrades, Clark doubled down on what was in front of her, celebrating small wins, building confidence, and elevating teammates. When Aaliyah Boston started controlling the paint, Clark kept feeding her. When Mitchell scorched defenses, Clark amplified the energy. When Hull hit corner shots, Clark turned it into momentum. That built trust, and the result was obvious. Players on the Fever started to play looser, freer, and with real belief.
And more than anything, y'all, big picture-wise, this group, there would have been so many teams that would have folded with all the we've been through. And we just kept getting better, and we kept getting tougher, and we kept becoming more resilient, and we kept figuring things out, right? Like, we've had like 7 new teams throughout the course of this season. and no matter what, we've been flexible, we've been accountable, we've put each other in positions to be successful, and we've continued to put one foot forward and stayed the course.
Observers expected Indiana to slog through another slow rebuild this season, maybe showing small steps of progress. Instead, the Fever caught fire late, even making a push toward the playoff picture. Nobody's pretending it was flawless, but the takeaway is obvious. There's belief that this team is finally building something real, and that belief ties directly to Caitlin Clark. Her presence, her approach, her stability, it's setting the tone for the culture. So if the WNBA's future comes down to 2 paths, Which one do you think the next generation will follow? On one side, you've got chaos, conflict, and constant distractions. On the other, you've got cohesion, accountability, and momentum. Clark projects a reflection that's clear and team first. Reese, on the other hand, mirrors something murky, self-centered, and already draining for fans to keep watching this early into her career.
Ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Okay, we got another one on Tuesday, and in playoffs, ain't nobody gonna want to see us. No one is gonna want to see us. That's right. Nobody. I'm not gonna sing it, but yes. So we continue to focus on competing to the standard, preparing to the standard. All right, and then we scare the hell out of this league. Hell yeah. Come on. Here we go. Hell yeah. 3, 1, 2, 3. Hell yeah.
It's no mystery why fans are packing Fever arenas and why Caitlin Clark jerseys can't stay in stock. Authentic leadership is easy to recognize, and so are distractions. Angel Reese's season pulled back the curtain on dysfunction. Clark's, on the other hand, put on display what real leadership looks like when it's lived, not just talked about. The Sky weren't falling apart because of outside pressure. The cracks Reese kept blaming were simply her own reflection. Think about it. She led the league in turnovers despite missing weeks of play. That doesn't scream leadership, it exposes a facade. Fans aren't drawn to excuses, suspensions, or finger pointing. They rally around players who elevate the team, inspire belief, and make the game stronger. That's why the choice is so clear. Support athletes like Caitlin Clark and the Fever, who are building something steady and sustainable, not chaos that drags everything down. Reese has become a warning sign of what not to follow. Clark and Indiana, they're the blueprint for where the WNBA is heading. Let us know in the comments if you think Chicago should cut ties with Reese. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss what's next.